What's going on YouTube? So the QX60 has been Infiniti's best-selling model for a while now, and it's easy to see why. But for 2026, Infiniti is upgrading this model with a big dose from the flagship QX80. So with design, trim level, and technology upgrades this year, is this an even better rival than before to things like the MDX? Let's go ahead and find out. So let's get started here with the exterior design. Now you might notice right from the start there's pretty significant upgrades to this front end design. Infiniti actually said from this area up they have replaced the body panels on board, and you'll notice again, like I was saying, that influence from the QX80 is going to be very present here. So we've got a similar look to this overall fascia. It's going to be a little bit bolder and more pronounced, especially when we're talking about this version. So this is the new QX60 Sport. It's a brand new trim addition to the lineup, and it's going to give you a more aggressive design than the rest of the trim levels, including in the texture of the grille. As you can see, it's got that kind of hash design going on through there. And then especially down here on our lower fascia, you can see that this has a much more aggressive look with this lower spoiler. Now that's not all the changes, of course. You'll notice up in the front we've got a big Infiniti logo. This is a brand new 3D design with illumination built into it. And then as far as our lighting is concerned, this also has been upgraded with the new signature from the QX80. So you've got the piano key design that's kind of just more eye-catching versus other vehicles on the road. Of course, you're still going to have standard LEDs on board as well. Now as we move over to our wheels, we've got some brand new designs for 2026. You're also going to have standard 20s on all models, so that base 18 has been eliminated this year. And as you can see on this sport trim level, really cool looking design. It's mostly a gloss black finish with a lot of spokes, but you even have these little contrast accents on the outside edges. I think it's really a distinct look, again, that's kind of helping this model stand out from some of the competition. Now your wheel arches here do have this matte surrounds that's going to be across all the trim levels. And then as far as our mirrors here, we're finished in a piano black here on the sport trim. Obviously, you're going to have all the features you expect, including standard blind spot monitoring.
Now at the side of the refreshed QX60, the overall vehicle length is 198 inches. That, of course, does not change for this model year, but as far as the side design, you will notice quite a few differences for this model year. So all of our window surrounds, they've gone away from the chrome look, so it's a new darkened finish. We saw that debut on the QX80 model. And you're also going to notice that this back pillar here of course, takes design cues from the QX80, and if you choose the autograph, you're going to have autograph spelled out across the back here. Really cool look, and definitely makes that trim level stand out. Now, also a way that you'll stand out is when it comes to the roof. So you do have a two-tone roof option that's included on the autograph as standard equipment, and you have the black roof here on the Sport as well. Really looks good, especially if you pair it with one of the 3 new exterior colors, because they are offering really cool things such as the emerald green as well this year. And now that I've given Drew some time to move around to the rear, you'll notice that we have a similar look to the rear design. However, Infiniti, of course, has modified quite a few different elements if you actually look at those details. Up top, we do have a spoiler. We also have a window wiper. You'll notice that our Infiniti logo is actually gone this year. It's just going to be the branding. That gives it a little bit more of a sleek look, especially when you look at these taillights. So the taillights are going to be very long and go across the back. They're going to be a full LED setup, and they also have a really darkened finish here on the Sport model. Now as we drop down to the branding, you'll notice that we do have new all-wheel drive branding. Additionally, for the Sport, you're going to get the S designation here in the back. Dropping down to the lower diffuser, this is a matte black plastic, no exposed exhaust outlets, and as far as the tow rating, it can tow up to 6,000 pounds. Now, when it comes to your safety systems, of course, this is a family luxury SUV, so you're going to want all of those as standard equipment. Infiniti does include all of those as standard equipment, and really importantly for this refresh model is the fact that they're including some really advanced systems, including ProPilot 2.1, which is, of course, something the QX80 has, and that allows for some hands-free highway driving. Now, do be aware it is an option on the Autograph trim level, so it's not going to be something that you can get on every single version of the QX60. But guys, there's some big tech upgrades on the inside that we need to dive into. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16.
We started young, and since then we have reviewed over 2,000 vehicles at every price point. No matter what you're looking for, from humble to high-end, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, now let's go ahead and check out the interior. You might notice we switched to a different QX60. This is the Autograph. We want to show you guys all the maximum number of features you can get with the interior. So this is the fully loaded model. Obviously, you're going to have smart entry as expected. And let's take a look inside the interior. Now, just like with the exterior, it's not going to be a ground-up redesign, but you are going to notice a healthy number of upgrades, which we'll point out as we go through the cabin. Starting with these seats, that's going to be where those upgrades begin. You're looking at a new color scheme here on the Autograph model. So as you can see, you got the two-tone gray finish. This, of course, is the quilted semi-aniline leather seat, so really high-quality stuff here. It looks beautiful, feels super nice. You even have the Autograph branding up there at the top. And one thing I want to point out is that that new sport trim we were looking at earlier also gives you a exclusive new color, which is a black and blue combination. Now, as far as the seats themselves are concerned, we have 12 ways of power adjustment. You also have the availability of massage. But let's go ahead and climb on inside so we can get into all the rest of the details. Now, first things first, let's look at the rest of the cabin materials. So over here on our door trim, we've got some really nice leather going through here with stitching details. Of course, that same leather is going to go through here, and even leather across the top. Got some beautiful open pore wood that runs across the dashboard, and one thing you'll notice that's new for 2026, over here on this side, the Autograph now has metal inlays inside of the open pore wood. Leatherette up there, you have the quilted leather with the same design as the seats running through here, and even more of that waterfalls down on both sides of the console in the same two-tone design. Now obviously we're inside in a studio, so we're not going to fire up the engine, but all the electronics are already started up, and we'll take a look first of all at our gauge cluster. So this is a 12.3-inch digital cluster. They've moved to make this now standard across all trims. Previously the lowest trim did without it. Now you get that. Of course, this is reconfigurable like other Infiniti products, so you can just kind of click that view there. That will change the main designs, and then you can switch different kinds of information throughout. Up top, we've got a large head-up display. And then as we pull back to the steering wheel, the Autograph comes with the premium leather-trimmed steering wheel, really soft and supple, and it has the cross-stitching design. This wheel itself is power tilt and telescoping. You also have steering wheel heating, of course. And let's take a look at interior storage. This element has not changed for 2026, so you still have a pretty healthy sized center console here. Nice felt lining on board as well. You've got your two cup holders through there. Nice wireless phone charging pad. And then, of course, the big deal is the center pass-through. I know a lot of people really appreciate having the flexibility of that space, and that does carry on this year. That comes courtesy of a small electronic style shifter. Obviously, you just kind of pull that back for drive. And then let me go ahead and pull up the camera system because we've got some new details with this. So when I pull up the 360 camera, first of all, you notice we've got upgraded resolution. This is a new camera system, looks really nice. Also, since we've got the tech package, we're able to do the full 3D spin around the vehicle now. So you can just grab that and go all around the vehicle and take a look at those graphics. Definitely much, much improved over what it was previously, and really, again, kind of bringing it up to snuff with the latest from the QX80. Now, of course, in this area, you've got your electronic parking brake, you have your control knob for the infotainment system, and your drive modes. Up above that, we have our climate controls. Thankfully, Infiniti hasn't really changed this much. I say thankfully because it still has these nice physical controls here, making it pretty easy to engage with. You do have some touch-sensitive controls through here, but they have haptic feedback and they're very easy to use overall. Off to the side, you have your 3-stage heated seats, standard on all models. Ventilation is available on most trims. And then you've got a nice physical audio knob for the new audio system. So let's talk a little bit about that. Previously you had Bose sound systems, but now if you get anything except the base model, you're going to have a new Klipsch audio system. So that's going to be a big improvement overall. Again, that comes from the QX80. 16 speakers will be what's on most trims. However, you get this autograph that upgrades to 20 speakers because you have 2 speakers in each headrest. So those are your extra speakers. This allows you to have that extra capability where you can actually isolate phone calls to just the driver's seat and the other passengers won't hear that, for example, and just, again, brings the audio closer to your ears. So pretty cool stuff. Now, that's not the only tech improvement, though, because when I click into the main infotainment system, you'll notice that the 12.3-inch display now has the latest and greatest version of the Infiniti InTouch software. What is new with this is that we have Google built in, so now our map is Google Maps, and as you can see, we can very easily jump into this. Performance much improved, nice and snappy. You also have access to Google Assistant and the Google Play Store to add your own applications. Furthermore, you now have wireless Android Auto in addition to wireless Apple CarPlay. Up top, auto-dimming mirror. The autograph gets the digital camera system, and your HomeLink remotes are built right in. And you'll notice you have a nice and large panoramic sunroof, which is actually a standard feature across the lineup.
And let's talk about the rear seats for the QX60. This, of course, is a luxury 3-row, so this is very important. As far as overall space, this is a refresh. So, of course, that's not going to change when it comes to your space figures and things like that. You're sitting at about 37 inches of both leg and headroom, which are decent numbers for the segment. Places it pretty much similar to most of the other options you might be cross-shopping with. Overall, for someone who's 5'9" like myself, as you can see, the seat is slid actually mostly back in its tracks. I still have plenty of room. I do apologize, we do not have our ruler with us and the tape measure. Unfortunately, we are on a very strict time crunch on this QX60 first look video. If you want to check that out, we have actually covered it in the 25 model year video as well, so you can get those knee room and cargo measurements. Now, as far as the seats themselves, they do slide forward and back a good distance. They also recline a good distance. And let's talk about the seating configurations itself. So standard bench seats on the very base model. If you get anything besides the base model, that will throw in captain's chairs as standard equipment. That does mean, you have really nice setup here with a big armrest in the center section. Additionally, you have a console. It's a removable console on actually the vast majority of models. However, if you choose the autograph with the tech package, which is what we have here, this is actually a fixed console. You cannot remove it. So that's something to keep in mind, and you can't walk here in the center. 2 cup holders, though. We have a storage cubby inside. Nothing else when it comes to this. And then as far as the features, climate controls back here. We also have heated back seats. That's actually going to be included on a lot of the QX60s. Down below, 2 USB-C ports, a household outlet as well. Over on the door trim, you'll find rear window sunshades, which is quite nice. We have vents coming out of the ceiling, tons of door storage as well. Now let's check out the third row. In order to get back here, it's pretty easy. You press that button. That's going to tilt the seat out of the way. The back does remain the same, though, so that's certainly nice. You wouldn't have to remove a child seat. And let's talk about the space here in the third row. Once again, unchanged for 2026 model year. So we're having about 28 inches of third row legroom, about 35 inches of headroom. That means for someone who's 5'9" like myself, no additional legroom, that's for sure, with this seat slid most of the way back. I do have room for my feet to slide up under, though, and the thigh support, not fantastic. It's not the QX60's strongest area, that's for sure, here in the third row. Headroom is okay, but my hair is definitely scraping the ceiling. I want to point out it's only 2 seats back here, so that's also something worth noting. As equipped today, we're at 6-passenger seating. You can get up to 7-passenger seating. As far as features, we have USB-C ports here in the third row, 2 cup holders and vents, so that's nice that you have the vents. MDX does not include that. As far as on our third row rating scale, I'm going to say this is going to be fit for the in-laws. And let's check out the cargo area. We have a standard power tailgate on all of the models. You can also, of course, get foot activation. And let's talk about the space figures when it comes to the third row itself, or the cargo area, excuse me. Behind the third row, you're sitting at about 14 cubic feet of space. If you fold those seats down, 41 cubic feet of space, and as a maximum, we're sitting at about 75 cubic feet. As far as how that compares to a lot of the main rivals, that is very similar. And by the way, if you want to see how the QX60, the pre-refresh model at least, competes with other 3-row midsize SUVs, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. There we've gone through all the 3-row midsize luxury SUVs you could be cross-shopping with, made it in a chart, and you can see individual categories that might matter more or less to you, such as technology, cargo space, third row ability. All of those things are detailed there for you, so definitely make an informed buying decision and check that out on our website. Now, as far as back on the QX60's cargo area, you do have a manually folding third row of seats on all models. It's just kind of a 2-step process. You just fold your little headrest down like that. However, if you choose the Autograph, you will have a power return ability, so you don't have to grab the strap or anything. You can just press these buttons right here. That's going to power return it back. That's something the MDX does not include, and we also have storage up underneath of the seat.
Now let's go ahead and talk about what we have under the hood. Now, a lot of you guys might not even be aware that Infiniti actually switched out the power plant of the QX60 for the 2025 model year. They took out the previous V6 and replaced it with this, a 2-liter variable compression turbo 4-cylinder engine. Total power on this is 268 horsepower, 286 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you're wondering how that compared to the previous V6, down a little bit on power, but up on torque. Now, obviously today we're not going to be driving this model since it is pre-production and we're here in a studio setting. But in the meantime, if you wanted to see some driving impressions on the QX60, we do have the 2025 video available on our channel. Now, as far as your transmission, we've got a 9-speed automatic transmission. Most of the trim levels do come with all-wheel drive, and as far as combined fuel economy, it is setting at 24 mpg. We do expect that to remain pretty much the same for the 2026 model year.
Now, I'm sure you're probably curious as to when this QX60 will be available and the price of it. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to pricing, Infiniti has not released that just yet. That will be coming later on when this vehicle goes on sale, which, by the way, Infiniti says it will be on sale summer 2025, so you're not going to have to wait too much longer if you want to pick up one of these QX60s. Now, as far as our Car Confections estimated pricing, we don't expect prices to rise much for this model, so the current QX60 starts around $50,000 and goes up to around $66,000 in the Autograph trim level. We expect a $1,000 to $2,000 price increase for that, so I'd expect maybe $51,000, $52,000 as a starting point and going up to around $68,000. And with all the options, including that new tech package on the Autograph, I'd say you'd be in a $70,000 price point. Now, if you're looking to buy an Infiniti QX60 or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation and can really help you get that best deal. Now, if you'd like to take advantage of that, once more, you can find that in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. And guys, that's going to wrap up our first look review of this refreshed 2026 Infiniti QX60. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get the latest car reviews such as this, and you're also going to stay up to date as we cover this product more when it goes on sale later this year. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.